Okay, I'm going to read you the quote of the day.
Oh, we're just starting then.
Oh, I don't know. I'm so tired.
Oh, God, I am wiggling in my chair a lot. You told me not to do that.
Do you always, by the way, do you always get up this early to trade stocks?
No.
I know you said I was going to wake you
up
in ungodly hours, so I woke you up at 11. What is it, almost noon now?
That's not the good time to trade the stock.
Stock market closes at 1.
Stock market is already well underway, except it's Saturday, so it's not.
Yeah, he's like, I'll check it tomorrow, and if it's up, I'll sell it. There is no tomorrow.
Oh.
Okay, hold on. I think the camera's crooked.
It's not. Oh, my gosh. Leave this in. Leave this in the podcast.
Adjusting the camera?
Yes.
It's terrible.
Oh, my gosh.
Okay, never mind. Quote of the day.
Quote of the day. We're jumping in.
Listen to this. I can't share my script with you. It's a secret.
Okay.
I think college is... You want to read it? You read it.
From whom?
Quote of the day from Elon Musk.
Okay, we're quoting Elon Musk every day.
I could have read it and then made you guess who it is, but now I can't.
Did we do this on the other podcasts? I can't remember.
I think college is basically for fun and to prove you can do your chores, but they are not for learning. You can learn anything for free.
You can, but unfortunately, unless you have work experience, or unless you have work experience or a college degree, you can't really put much on a resume.
Well, the reason I read that is because I feel like a lot of people are intimidated by getting involved in the stock market, and they feel like, well, I didn't study that in college, or I don't live on Wall Street. So I just wanted to make that the inspirational quote of the day.
Okay, that checks out.
Welcome to our Call Girls podcast.
I'm the call guy.
My name's Diana Becker, and this is...
I'm Michael Becker.
Oh, he said his last name. It's a miracle. News? In the news. I have news.
You have news? Okay, I don't have
Do you have any
much
news? You traded this week.
My news is that Among Us is a game that has been out for 2 years and is only just now starting to get popular, and I have zero clue why. I think it might have something to do with quarantine.
So is Among Us like zombies?
No, it's like aliens in space. You're a bunch of spacemen, and one of you is an imposter, and you have to figure out who's the imposter.
I'm actually convinced now, the more I've studied it, that we might be all being orchestrated by spacemen trying to take over the human race, because this is too weird, this whole 2020.
Okay, I wasn't until you added that it was because of 2020 that I was like, oh, okay.
Yeah, that explains everything.
Yeah, no.
It does explain everything if it were true.
2020 is you're on like a path, and at the end of the path is conspiracy theorist, and I'm just watching you slowly slide.
Well, there's the weird thing. I looked up New World Order conspiracy theories because I was just curious. Curtains haunted. I was just curious. Did you know that the George Bush speech that started this whole New World Order theory was made on 9/11 of 1990 something? Way before 9/11. Okay, fine. In the news.
Oh my God.
Friday was great, wasn't it?
We're off to a great start.
Wasn't Friday great on the stock market?
Friday was pretty good. I think everyone. I think the stock market has been going crazy lately. Unlike what I said last time, I did not actually invest in shorts in the SQQQ because I wasn't sure about myself. And then I think...
Well, it was... What did I predict last week? I predicted it would go down to... Did I tell you the Standard & Poor's would go down to 3250?
I don't remember.
It went down to exactly 3250.
Okay, great.
And I predicted a 21-day decline. And the day I predicted it didn't go down 21 days from that date. But when I went back and looked, the high and then Thursday was 21 days exactly. I couldn't believe it. But I still am a little skeptical or worried about Monday because Friday it climbed, like TQQQ went up 7%, which is pretty good. Way good. And it went up really fast, so I feel like it's typical for the next day for it to go down. So what did I predict, though? I don't remember. I said I thought it would go down, and then it would open down, but that it would climb. That's what I thought. And you know what the turning point was?
What?
Well, I feel like it's all based on everybody doesn't believe Congress is going to pass any kind of relief for COVID now. Like everybody. I've been saying that for months because I've seen the interviews with Nancy Pelosi where she's pretty much saying, well, November, so it's pretty clear to me she never intended to try too hard until after the election. So now Goldman Sachs came out with a paper and they said, we don't expect any COVID relief between now and the election. And so I feel like what Cramer said is, Jim Cramer, I listen to a lot. His theory was everybody thinks there's not going to be any kind of COVID relief till the election. So there's no one left to convince. There's no one left to say, hey, it's not as good as you think, sell. They've all sold. You know why I don't talk about TikTok? I never talk about TikTok, and my daughters are like really big into TikTok. And I don't talk about the TikTok deal in the news. You know why? Because nobody knows anything.
Yeah.
They all make up this stuff on the news, but basically no one really knows the contents of the deal. So you hear all these people criticizing this or opining about that, and they don't know anything about it.
Oh, God.
It's a secret.
It's like when new shows are coming out and people just make stuff up. Like, there's this new Five Nights at Freddy's game where it's like literally all that's been released about it is like a single trailer and no news about the game, but people are just going wild with speculation and having theories upon theories, and people are already forming their own opinions on it before the game has come out.
Is Five Nights at Freddy's the scary one where the teddy bear is the monster?
That's the one. But there's a new one coming out.
Wait a minute. You bought Microsoft.
I did buy Microsoft because...
And then I interfered with you.
Microsoft bought ZeniMax.
I said I wasn't going to say anything to you, and then I messed with you.
But here's the thing. Microsoft bought ZeniMax. People talked about it. Most people know about this already. The thing about it that I'm like thinking about is the big reason why Microsoft is making all these deals is to get people to buy the new Xbox consoles, but I just don't see any big reason why people would be buying them. Well, at least not yet.
You told me about this console last week. You just from Facebook, where you just stick it on your head.
I've been sending you memes. That's the different one.
The new Oculus.
That's the Oculus from Facebook. I'm talking about the Xbox consoles, the Xbox Series X and the Xbox Series S, which are different from the Xbox One X and the Xbox One S.
The names are not different enough.
And the Xbox 360 X.
Well, I feel like the names are not different enough. Is there some major improvement?
Yes. One is a giant box that's about yay high, and like that by that.
Like a big computer on the floor.
Yes, it is literally.
Why would you want that?
Because it's an Xbox.
So that's a new one or the old one?
That's a new one. And then there's another new one that's more like shaped like a standard console.
Why would anyone want to buy a large... Is it supposed to have more memory?
Because this year, all the consoles are trending towards just big.
Oh, so they're copying Apple because the phone is suddenly big, and it used to be a great deal that it was small, so now it's big.
It might be that. It might be somewhat
it's ridiculous, though.
Market trends are like, okay, we're done with small. Small was last year. Now big time.
Speaking of Apple, I heard a guy come on the radio saying that if he had one stock that he would buy right now, it was Apple. It was in a 3-year time frame. He said next year might not be so good. When 5G first rolls out, it might be slow. But he said they're going to own the world. And then somebody else is talking about Tesla and comparing it to Apple, saying someday Tesla will have as big a market cap as Apple, which means as much value.
Yeah, I've been hearing some stuff about 5G, but most of it has been in commercials. I'm wondering, I
don't even know what it is really. Is it just better bandwidth?
Apparently, it's like as fast as a wired connection.
Wait a minute. It's not already?
No, not really.
I don't see a difference.
I do.
Well, I would if
I'm
I
streaming video and stuff.
Okay, so yeah, I've seen lag sometimes. Like when Gabriella did the HQ trivia game and they had her on like a Zoom call. It was terrible lag.
The thing is that from all the advertising I've seen, it's not really geared towards the general public. It's geared towards the industry. It's geared towards doctors using like remote patient operating and stuff like that.
Oh yeah, I wouldn't want to do that on current internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, they keep saying it's going to change the world. I think AI is going to change the world.
I think that a lot of technology changes the world by definition.
I think AI is changing the world. I think that's how they're manipulating us from the aliens. No. But seriously, AI has the power to get into your brain and figure. I saw a special on this and how these people are actually subcontractors to the government and have been doing this for decades, where they get into people's brains and they like plant little seeds of thoughts in them, and it really over time does affect the populace. They can make us think anything.
Elon Musk make like a Cybertronic brain or something?
Yeah, I didn't follow that. Do you know anything about that?
No, I don't. I want to know about it.
He's always doing something new. I'm surprised he's not studying. Well, I'm not going to say anymore. I said enough conspiracy theories.
The idea of putting a computer in your brain, I like that a lot, honestly.
So we can think alike more?
So
we can be controlled more?
Connect to the internet. Well, actually, no. That might be dangerous.
Yeah,
because then, like, computer viruses and stuff, and what if it overheats? And
there's a crazy thing happening to the curtain behind us. The cat is laying on it and playing with it, but it looks like we're in a haunted house.
I love that.
Is that enough news? I think so.
That's enough news. What's this news about?
We covered everything. There's something called Fastly, which I want to look into.
What's ETrade?
Hold on a sec. Fastly is FSLY. They're saying that's the whole AI behind TikTok, and that we could actually, that I looked at the stock, nothing happened to it after he said that, but.
Well, the thing is, I mean, that's cool. And TikTok got trending super, super fast, and it like popped up out of nowhere. So
supposedly it made people feel satisfied because it got into their brains.
I mean, that's just what good design is. So
this Fastly supposedly has similar stuff. Or is behind them or something. And then ETrade, you said, what is ETrade? You're going to be embarrassed, you asked. Scottrade, Schwab, Robinhood, ETrade, TD Ameritrade. So yeah, actually I have a friend who started an ETrade account and said something about it to me. And then the next day I heard on the news, they said that ETrade had like huge record-breaking people starting new accounts this last quarter.
I should check them out.
I don't know. You're with Robinhood. You like it, right?
Kind of. And I think Robinhood is a really good starter system, but I'm not 100% sure about using it long term.
So they might be a good middle ground for us, because we talked about how Schwab is old-fashioned but has good market makers.
Yeah. I'm going to try out ETrade. I think that sounds like interesting to me.
And I don't think I'll check out Fastly, because I'm really happy with TQQQ, which is the triple leveraged NASDAQ, which has a whole bunch of stocks in it. It's probably got all of these that we mentioned.
Yeah, like here's the thing is that I bought Microsoft for a bit because I was like, I think Microsoft is going to go up. And then I looked at TQQQ, and TQQQ went up more.
Well, that's the thing. I used to day trade Tesla, and then I realized most of the time TQQQ has a better swing, a wild swing. So that was on Friday that the wild swing was.
Yeah.
Okay, so getting into howto, I'll show you Friday, because I have a chart, a one-day chart of
it's
TQQQ.
chart time.
I use TQQQ.
Is this a first on our show for you bringing charts in?
Yeah. So basically, if you're at home listening, you
could
put
it
look.
up on the screen.
I will for my YouTube podcast, so check it out if you want to see it. So for the chart, this was Friday. It started off, and just in context, I just want to say the context. So here's 5 days, and this is where we were in the beginning of Friday. It just zigzagged up, down, and everyone and it was at the 3250 level that I was talking about on the Standard & Poor's. So it's like it could either go up or it could go down. And everybody on the radio was saying it could either go up or down. And I'm like scared because it's Friday. And a lot of times on Fridays, it's either a big up day or a big down day. It's usually 2/3 of the time a down day. But I saw this going up, down, up, down, up, down. And I was kind of nervous about it because if it went down below this level a lot, then that means it's going to keep going down.
Right.
And if it went up above this level, I thought it would go up. The level, I'm going to now show you the year chart. This is the year. You see how before COVID, we got up to this one area here, and then it dropped like a rock. And it got up there again, and it kind of hovered around there a little bit before it went up higher.
We've soared past where it was during COVID.
Yeah. Isn't that kind of ridiculous when you think about it?
Right now, we're at about the same place it was before the drop.
So before COVID, we were doing pretty good as an economy. And then COVID should have destroyed us.
If you use this as a representation of the economy.
Yeah. So then I think right around when it passed up here, when it got back above COVID, I think people were starting to realize, hey, the NASDAQ is all these companies that are going to survive. It's little businesses that are going to fail, and big businesses that are in the stock market are going to survive. Technology companies are going to survive. Because just think of all the technology that's now being used because of COVID that wasn't before. It just accelerated everybody into that. But then about the top here, then people started thinking, you know, if we don't get any relief and all these people are going to go bankrupt and homeless, who's going to buy the technology? You know, it's going to destroy the whole economy. So over time, we're going to get a deal. We're going to get a deal. It went up, 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 up. And then people started realizing we're not going to get any kind of relief out of Congress. They're not going to pass it before the election, and that's going to be too late for a lot of people. And then it dropped like a rock. You see that?
Right.
And then it rose a little, and that's around where the time I said, no, don't buy it yet. It's going to go down to 32.50 because I saw this line. I kind of drew this imaginary line between the old top, between that area where it hovered around and people were deciding, and here we are again hovering around.
Yeah.
But we were up here, and I'm like, no, it's got to go all the way down to 32.50. So now it's here.
Right.
And it could go lower. It could go lower.
I think you're right in that it could go lower.
So I sold on Friday after taking that big profit because I thought, yeah, you know, they usually bounce around, so I kind of had confidence that I'd get a chance to make some money there.
Yeah, I think you've got a good idea.
It could go up too.
It could.
You know what would make it go up is if Congress would get off their ass and make a deal. You know, so but I'm aggravated with them. But so here's the chart of 5 days, and you see how we reached the top there. The same top as we did, like, when was this, Tuesday? I'm like, this is going to be resistance. We did this before. So when we got up about here, I was like, it's half an hour before the end of the day or 15 minutes. I'm like, you know, I feel better selling here because it usually drops in the last 15 to 30 minutes on a Friday.
Yeah.
So that's when I texted you and I said, hey, I think I'm getting out right there. And look at how similar that is in level to the 5-day high. Yeah. And then this one is the 1-day chart, and you can kind of see, let me see here, I put my glasses on. So this is where it was bouncing around. People were deciding if it's going up or down. And then once it went above this bounce right here, you see how it shot up and then it just went up the rest of the day? That's because it broke through that level, that ceiling sort of for the day. Going up, and then it kind of went down, and then it went up. And it tried twice to get up here. It went up a third time to this peak here, and it closed up there. And I feel like that's kind of a good sign because usually there's a double top and then it goes down. But it was a double top and it went up, and it stayed up. So that's a positive sign. So I kind of feel like it could go either way.
Okay.
I don't know. But I thought, you know, a bird in the hand. I sold and I took my profit, and I just thought I'd wait out the weekend.
What is the bond
Can
deal?
I just tell you something, though?
Okay.
Everybody's waiting out the weekend thinking, well, what if they make a deal? They're starting the Democrats are starting a new bill that they're going to pass that's kind of a compromise. But do you think they'll pass the deal? I don't. You know, they're getting their hopes up.
Oh, God.
I
Our
don't think
politics
so.
are like...
Or maybe it doesn't matter anymore.
It's become such a cutthroat thing
It's scary how
it's
bad
like,
it is.
I don't think we're making any deals. I think it's
I think they're too eager to make the other side. And Kramer actually said he thought both sides think it's to their advantage to not get a deal at this point. I don't believe that. I know the Republicans.
Dumb.
Well, I know the Democrats have all along thought it was to their advantage to not get a deal, but because it hurts Donald Trump to have a bad economy. But I felt like the Republicans wanted to get a deal. But there's a bunch of Republicans that are worried about the deficit. Do you know what that is?
I've heard the word before.
Spending money that we don't have. Well, guess what I did? I looked up the deficit. So basically, Congress says we're going to spend this money. Then they go to the Treasury, which is like the wallet, and say, okay, give us the money. And the Treasury issues IOUs. Bonds are like IOUs. And they try to get buyers, like people in China, people in America, buy these bonds because it's secured by the U.S. government. It's really safe. And the interest rate is really low. Like, they hardly pay anything. Why would you want to even buy the bonds if you could make money in the stock market, you know?
Right.
So they sell these bonds, and then there's a third entity that buys some bonds. It's called the Fed. They used to have to print money physically, get the printing presses going, make the money, and give it to them. Now they don't. Everything's electronic. They just push a button. Okay, there's more money now. Something wrong with that, isn't there? So, okay, I looked up the deficit, and I looked up the population of the United States. The deficit is currently 26 trillion. And it's weird because I Googled it twice, and it was like 5 minutes apart. And the first time I Googled it, the deficit was 22 trillion. And the second time it said it was 26 trillion. I'm like, did it go up 4 trillion in 5 minutes? And then the population is 328 million. So I went and tried to divide $79,000 every single person in America owes right now.
Right.
It's like, can you even imagine paying off a debt of $79,000? That's a lot. For almost anybody, that's a lot. And that's basically our national debt right now. It's kind of making me worry that at some point people won't trust U.S. bonds anymore. The way out of it is to have a good economy. And, I mean, taxes make up the difference. But the problem is you can't tax people who aren't making money.
Yeah.
So this is a dilemma, and it's concerning to me.
Yeah.
The national debt. So there's like some Republicans that want to help everybody out of this no matter what and get the economy going, which is one way to address the national debt. And some Republicans are just like, we can't spend any more money we don't have. This is ridiculous. And they're just like, no, you can't spend these trillions and trillions of dollars. So I think they've all decided we want to get a deal because President Trump told the Republicans, get together and make this happen. So it's already Saturday now. I haven't heard anything about a deal.
I haven't either.
Some ways to tell if the market's going up or down. I heard Jim Cramer say if the bond yield drops below 1 and it's really low, that drags the market down. But it's basically supply and demand. The more demand there is for bonds, the more people buy them, the higher the price goes. They all set to pay a certain amount of interest, and as the price gets higher, the interest divided by the price you paid for it turns out to be less.
Mm.
So like if they're paying 10% interest and you're going to buy them for $100, and then there's a competition in the marketplace and you buy it for $200 because everybody wants it, you're not getting 10% interest anymore. You're only getting 5% interest.
Oh, that makes sense.
Also, if a lot of people want to buy the bonds, they don't have to pay as much to draw buyers in. That's another way to look at it. The reason I put this on this spreadsheet is, on this script is because when the bond yield gets really low, that means a lot of people are buying bonds. That means they're not buying stocks, which means the stock market is going to drop. So This happened in March when the COVID thing hit. Everybody flocked into bonds and sold their stocks and it crashed, right? So I just was curious, what is the bond yield today? And I looked and it was 0.65, which is, the record was 0.3. And people talked about it possibly getting negative, but that's ridiculous. But it's possible. So then I thought the other thing Kramer says to watch to see if the stock market's going up or down is oil prices. Because I guess there's this.
No, it would be impossible to get negative, wouldn't it?
It's complicated, but guess what happened to oil prices in March?
What happened to oil
They went
prices
negative.
in March?
They went negative. It was the first time it ever happened. So basically, you could gamble on future price of oil, right? By buying sort of like options in oil, but they're called futures.
Right.
They were actually negative. If you own them, like instead of it having a value, you would have to pay somebody to take it away from you.
Oh my God.
So the reason that is because when you buy oil futures, you're saying, I will buy 20,000 tons of oil on September 30th or whatever. You know?
Yeah. You told me about this.
And so then September 30th is coming and you're just a guy in an apartment and you don't have a place to put 20,000 tons of oil. So then you're going to have to pay storage fees.
Yeah.
So that's why people didn't want it. There's no demand. So they're saying now with the second, Europe's kind of going through a thing where they're starting to get more COVID cases again already. And they're saying, oh, this is going to happen again. We're all going to have no driving. It's going to really drop the demand for oil. So the price is going to drop because no one will want to buy it. So that's what's going on with that. So those two factors are kind of, right now, oil price is $40. That's kind of medium.
Huh.
That's actually pretty good. Thank you for being here to yawn so I know when I'm being boring. Okay, psychology. Psychology. There's that thing called catching a falling knife.
Yeah, I freaking caught it.
I feel like I did too, although I was a little early. Okay, so catch a falling knife is when a stock is dropping.
Can you hand me the 5-day chart? Oh, gosh.
That's a 5-day chart. So that would be Monday through Friday. So here's
Monday, Tuesday. So
Wednesday. Wednesday
night,
was that's the low. Wednesday. Middle of the day Wednesday, I think.
I think it was around Tuesday night. Not Tuesday night, but late into Tuesday.
It was probably Wednesday.
I think I bought.
Here's the end of the day Wednesday. Here's the end of the day Tuesday.
Yeah, I'm saying I bought.
That's Wednesday.
I bought on. What do you mean that's Wednesday?
This is Wednesday morning. It was crashing.
No, it says 9. What? That's a terrible way of marking it. Oh my God, you're totally right, but I hate that.
I printed this off I printed this off of just a search, and the first time I printed it, it stopped right here, and I was like, that doesn't look like the chart like I remember it.
No, I think it was.
Okay, so this is going to be a waste of time, so let's start over. You think you caught the falling knife. I got close, but I bought Thursday. Like on this bump here where it went up.
Either here or here, based on my memory.
I think
Point
you
is,
bought.
I bought it while it was going down. I sold it when it was going up, and finally, since my initial investment of $1,000, I have made a profit of $14.
Woohoo! Okay, so you have the $1,000,
and that's money that I actually have because I sold the stock, and
so
it is in my Robinhood account.
So this is a 1.4% return since you opened the account.
Yep.
And did you open the account last weekend or the weekend before?
Well, not since I opened it. Since
you started trading.
I started trading.
When did you start trading? Just this week? No.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. So you were down a week, and then you were up a week.
I was down a lot. I was down like $50.
2.5%.
So I actually made a way up.
Yeah, that's good. So you made a lot.
Yeah.
So, and then you saw how TQQQ is like, when it goes up, it goes really up. When it goes down, it goes really down.
Yep.
That's why you lost so much the first week, because you were TQQ.
It is the triple returns.
So I thought a lot about your statement about the only way to make money in the stock market is to know if it's going up or down. And I'm starting to think you're right.
Well, obviously.
Well, yeah. Actually, you would outperform all the guys on Wall Street if you could every week kind of tell when it's going to be high and when it's going to be low and just buy and sell, because they can't buy and sell the same way. I mean, there's guys that day trade, but I'm talking about the money managers. Seeing those levels and seeing, oh, it's at that level, it's going to break through. This is called technical trading. So if you look up there's this thing called Investopedia, which is on the internet. And if you look any term up,
the technical stuff,
anything you want to look up, the definition of any word in Investopedia, you can get a big, long explanation for exactly what it is, like from the beginning.
Great.
So we talked about all that.
Yeah, I think we've talked about it. Oh man, we're just throwing
I'll
all
just
our papers.
throw the paper on the floor.
Okay.
Which I get to clean up later. Yeah, so
All
next
right.
week, what do you think you're going to do?
What was it I wanted to look into again? I said it earlier in the podcast.
We'll have to play it back. I'm so tired. It's
Okay,
almost
hang on.
noon.
Let me look at the news.
Was it on there?
Yeah, I think. Hang on.
You said it was a game company, wasn't it?
No.
Okay, I have to cut this out. This is boring for them.
Hang on. ETrade. I'm going to open an
Oh.
ETrade account.
Seriously? You can open an ETrade account?
Yeah.
Well, you don't like Robinhood?
I'm going to try splitting it.
But why don't you research it first?
Okay, I'll research ETrade.
Yeah, and see if there's things you like and don't like about them.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for joining us.
All right. Thank you, everyone, for listening, and we will see you next week.